Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. The winter solstice is the darkest day of the year, and every day after the winter solstice is a little lighter, but it is still very, very dark the day after the solstice, and the day after that. And that's where we appear to be here in the U.S. with the coronavirus pandemic, with the first wave of the virus at or near the peak, which is promising in the sense of what it means for where we might be in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks from now. But it also means that what is happening now is as bad as it gets. More than 32,000 Americans have died. We had our highest single-day death total again today, and that devastation is going to continue. It will be dark for a while. We're going to talk to a doctor on the front lines of that battle in just a bit. But the other side of this, of course, is just the unprecedented and very widespread economic devastation, right? JP Morgan Chase just predicted that unemployment will hit 20%. That's Great Depression levels. The unemployment claims we've already seen are off the chart in terms of the filings. Retail sales numbers fell 8.7% in March, the largest monthly drop on record. And this is all, we should say, hitting low-income households the hardest. A survey conducted at the end of March found that 21% of low-income workers had lost their jobs, compared to just 9% of high-income workers. We've seen seemingly endless lines of cars waiting at food banks around the country. This one in San Antonio, Texas, served over 10,000 families just that day. Also, the health risk is more acute for people who work in low-paying jobs and still have those jobs and have to work on the front lines, janitorial workers, grocery workers, meat packers, who can't leave those jobs. The president's solution for all of this is to just pretend the virus is vanquished, declare victory, and get back to work. But what we actually need is, as we battle this virus, we need an efficient, competent, comprehensive administration of federal policy that looks out for people, that has their back. Americans right now are waiting for their coronavirus rescue bill checks they needed yesterday. Well, it appears those are going to be delayed so that Donald Trump can get his name printed on the check. This is something that has never been done before, never. The president reportedly pushed to have his name on the signature line, even though he lamely denied that he knew anything about it. Here's the thing, he is actually not legally allowed to sign the check, so they are putting Donald Trump's signature on the memo line, like, you know, the line where your grandma writes happy birthday. And who does the delay of a few days, who does that impact the most, you might ask? Well, it's going to impact the folks without bank accounts, without direct deposit, people who need the money the most. And those checks, that is just one small thing the government can do. One small thing to keep people afloat. Now, the president is delaying it for his own personal glory. There's, of course, an entire $2.2 trillion rescue package that is also designed to help, right? To keep people afloat through this period while people are sheltering in place. And while it has a lot of good aspects, we've covered a lot of them, the expansions of the unemployment insurance, we're learning there are many problems that need to be addressed. Wall Street Journal reports, and this was not unexpected, that the small business loan program, which people said at the time was not big enough, is expected to run out of money today. That after Republicans essentially tried to use the money running out to jam Democrats into passing a single bill to replenish the fund without addressing a whole bunch of other concerns. Democrats balked at that. So now there's no money left in that program. Who knows what happens with that? Hedge funds with billions of dollars in assets are also trying to claim small business loans, a little piece of that pie. Bloomberg points out that, ironically, hedge funds are designed to employ as few people as possible, so star traders don't have to share millions of dollars in fees. The Washington Post reports that 80% of the benefits of one of the tax changes that was put into the rescue bill by Republicans will go into the pockets of people earning more than $1 million annually. And the benefit, that tax cut for wealthy people, it will cost $90 billion in 2020 alone. $90 billion stuffed in the pockets of people making over $1 million. The New York Times found that a tax provision in the same bill could result in nearly, get this, $200 billion in savings for real estate tycoons, like President Trump and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who's now sitting on that new task force thingy. Think about that. People in food lines across America, waiting for their $1,200 checks for an extra day so the president could put his name on it. And they're stuffing tax breaks into this thing worth billions of dollars for real estate tycoons and wealthy folks. And then there are just the sort of technical administrative things. I mean, the president, who just loves to take shots at the Obamacare website crashing, which, you know, fair enough, it was bad when it came out. His own IRS website that is set up to monitor those checks being sent to Americans keeps crashing, been crashing all day. I've been getting emails about it all day. Also crashing state unemployment insurance sites as people try to file for uninsurance and overwhelm the system. There are clearly, to be fair here, enormous governmental challenges at play for everyone administering these programs, the SBA, state unemployment insurance agencies. I mean, this is hard, right? But they need to be addressed in order to save lives and to save the economy and to save people from misery. And the president of the United States has neither the interest nor the ability to even pretend to think about managing them. Instead of attending to any of this, these really pressing challenges, the president has just settled on apparently some May 1st, like ribbon cutting, when the economy will magically reopen. And he continues to do these long, baroque, bizarre, surreal daily rallies at the White House that are supposed to be coronavirus updates, but just devolve into spectacles, boring spectacles, weirdly, if that's a possibility. I mean, even Dr. Anthony Fauci thinks that time could be used more efficiently.
The downtime that we have there is really draining. If I had been able to just make a few comments and then go to work, that would have really been much better. It's the downtime. It isn't the idea of being there and answering questions, which I really think is important for the American public. It's the amount of time per contribution you make per given question.
Fundamentally, the president doesn't want to deal with the virus, right? Because he sees it as a threat to re-election. He wants to get re-elected. So he wants to talk about what a good job he's doing, how important it is that we get baseball back.
In sports, we want to get our sports back. So importantly, these will be some separate calls. Some will be together by the way lists and some will be separate. But we have to get our sports back. I'm tired of watching baseball games that are 14 years old. But I haven't actually had too much time to watch.
I mean, I miss sports too, a ton, but it is not worth dying over.